What's up guys, welcome back to more Reddit stories about entitled people, crazy people, and everything in between. Hope you're all doing awesome today. Be sure to subscribe if you're new here, and as usual, we're getting right into today's Reddit posts. Mom changed her baby's diaper on the bar counter at the vineyard. My husband and I went to a vineyard for a wine tasting. This place is a combination vineyard and apple orchard, and they make wine and hard ciders. People do bring children sometimes, but it's mostly a place for bachelorette parties, people drinking wine outside and chilling to some live music. We're inside doing a wine tasting, and this woman walks in with her baby, goes to one of the bar counters, and proceeds to start changing her baby's dirty diaper right on the counter. She didn't even put a blanket or towel down first, just a dirty diaper right on the counter. The staff was staring at her with pretty horrified looks. I'm pretty sure my husband and I were like, what the hell? A few of the other customers in the place were definitely watching her with confused looks. After she left, one of the vineyard staff had to Clorox wipe and spray down the whole counter. Sometimes I just wonder about people. Bro, it's a garage sale. Right now I am having a garage sale. I have my driveway all done up with stuff for sale, and I'm just chilling and talking with shoppers. This guy comes in and he is immediately rude. Demands me for a fan, but I don't have one. Asked me to go inside to check, and I was like, my friend, this is not a store. There's 2 lamps for sale, but he was upset I only had 1 light bulb. I decide then and there that whatever he brings to me, I'll still give him a deal, but not open for negotiation on price. He bundled up 2 lamps, 2 backpacks, a mirror, a plastic set of drawers, 2 wireless computer mice, a pressed leather purse, and a pair of BMW sunglasses. All of the price tags tallied up to $30, but I asked for $15 just to get him out of my hair. He shocked me by proposing $5 after I had already told him I'd give it all to him half price. After some back and forth, I tell him he's being rude and disrespectful on my property and he had to leave. He wouldn't leave. I told him to put down the sunglasses in his hands and leave. He set them down but didn't move any further. I got up from my seat and got in his space really fast. He started to walk away, so I stopped. He stopped and stared, so I rushed at him again. Third time I ended up rushing at him, I chased him right to his car. He wouldn't get in the car, so I asked if I needed to call the cops. He got in the car, but wasn't leaving the front of my house, so I called the cops. Over $15 at a garage sale. No police appeared. I didn't expect so, as he drove off once he realized I was on the phone with the authorities. No, I won't give you the key to a woman's room just because you switched with her. I work at a hotel, and tonight I'm on a solo night audit shift when I see 3 men stumble into the lobby at 2:30 in the morning. Not unusual, but as a small lone woman, I'm already a little nervous when they come to the front desk. All 3 are clearly drunk, laughing, slurred speech, slight liquor smell. 2 of them stand in front of the desk, while the third moves around and stands at the side of the desk closest to me. He says he needs a new key for his room and gives me his last name. I say okay, check his ID, and confirm the name on the reservation matches, when he tells me that actually he's in a different room altogether. I ask what he means, and he gives me the name and room number of a woman staying under the same corporate group reservation as him and his friends. He insists that they swapped rooms, and he needs a key to that room instead. Absolutely f***ing not. I go through all the notes for the day. I check the names on both reservations to see if maybe he was added to her reservation at some point. I even call the room to ask, but of course she was asleep. I apologize to him, but insist that I cannot give out a room key without some kind of proof that he's supposed to be in there. Cue lots of huffing and puffing. But he knows her name, they're part of the same group. He knows the name on the corporate credit card they're all using. He has to be up by 6 in the morning. Then why are you out drinking this late, buddy? His friends start laughing at him and eventually walk away, leaving us alone. I apologize again, but put my foot down. No means no. I'm not going to potentially endanger a woman just because her drunk coworker says so. Eventually he stalks off, swearing under his breath. I assume he went to go find his friends, or perhaps even wake up this poor woman if they truly did switch rooms. I am keeping an eye out in case he comes back. Please keep me in your thoughts. I hate it here. Update. I wasn't able to speak with the woman directly, but I left her name with my manager, as well as the name of the man who wanted a key to her room. He let me know today that he did speak with her as well as a representative from her company. The company itself isn't based in the US, so there was a bit of a language barrier, but he's confident that the incident was relayed in full detail. No, the man wasn't hauled from the hotel by police, nor did the woman run screaming to the airport. My manager said she seemed surprisingly calm about the whole thing, but that she definitely didn't switch rooms with him. The entire group reservation was checked out today anyway, which is when my manager spoke with her. When you have to use handcuffs, don't take them off. Posted this story in an Ask Reddit thread about what rules exist because of you, and decided to share it here as well with a bit more detail. This happened almost 5 years ago, and it's still used in classes for new security guards as a training example by those who know it. I was working as a loss prevention officer a few years ago, and at this one store I was working with a partner. This rarely ever happened, but this week we were doing a blitz to catch shoplifters and try to deter the huge problem at this particular store. Wasn't exactly in the greatest area. This is nearing the end of the week. We're about halfway through our shift and bored when my partner sees a woman shoplifting. So we follow her, and as we have to prove intent, we have to pretty much let her walk out the door before we can make the arrest. So she does exactly that. We follow her out and make the arrest. She struggled, so of course we had to use handcuffs to restrain her, and she wasn't exactly tiny either. It took both of us wrestling with our arms to get them behind her back, after which we escort her to the back of the store into the employee-only area, where our office was. It was less an office and more a desk tucked into a corner in the back storeroom next to the receiving doors. Very open area, lots of things lying around. Not exactly a secure area, and only one store in my city has a holding cell. This isn't that store. She had no ID, gave us a name which later proved to be fake. I took the info we had and called it in to the local police force to come pick her up. And so began the waiting game. As she was no longer resisting or combative, it wasn't a very high priority call. My partner did the paperwork. I took pictures of the product so it could be put back on the floor. Supervisor showed up and decided to work the floor while we were tied up. An hour and a half after the initial arrest, she is whining mightily about needing to use the bathroom. Apparently, she had a few beers before coming to shoplift. We talked it over with our supervisor, and he gave me and my partner the go-ahead to take her to the bathroom. So my partner takes the cuffs off to make the bathroom trip easier. As he's male and I'm female, I get the lucky task of being in the bathroom itself to make sure she doesn't try anything. But when she finishes and leaves the bathroom with her arms out, fully expecting the cuffs to go back on, my partner instead tells her if she behaves, he won't put them back on. This is where the mistake was made. We go back down to our desk and she cooperates, for now. Half an hour later, still no officers. My partner wanders off to use the bathroom, and this is when the shoplifter sees the odds are now in her favor, especially since I am easily half her size. I'm sitting, finishing up the paperwork, but angled so I can see her in my peripheral vision. She stands up, grabs a 3-foot-long chain. For some reason, this thing was a keychain for a single key, which was at one end, and had a wooden round block, kinda like a handle at the other. And it was thick. Think of the small chains you find on some shopping carts with the keys that you have to put money in to unlock. That's the kind of chain this was. I saw her stand, so I stand up and face her, and holding on to the wood block, she starts whipping me with it. I finally grabbed the chain after the third hit, ripping it out of her hand, tried to half wrestle, half hold her and block her to keep them from leaving. Note that I have zero combat training at this point, and my loss prevention training a month prior consisted of shadow someone for a week and hope something happens, while yelling for my partner. She then starts choking me to the point I can no longer scream for help. Small scuffle ensues. I'm trying desperately to break her grip on my throat and beginning to panic, thinking she might not stop until I pass out, and maybe not even then. You know how people sometimes talk about being in a situation they wet themselves? That was me at this moment. After a few seconds that felt like eternity, she finally lost her grip on my throat after bumping into the doors that led out to the store. Store clerk heard the thump and sees the struggle and calls out over the intercom for help for me. I yell again for my partner. He comes running, grabs her, and throws her to the ground. I ended up tossing my handcuffs to my partner as his were in his bag across the room. Shoplifter is in stitches because she thinks from the conversation prior to this we've screwed up and she'll get to walk. Supervisor was correcting some errors in the paperwork during his check-ins on us while he was there. I go looking for my supervisor and find him outside, talking with a police officer that had just arrived, who was in the middle of filling out the paperwork to release her on a promise to appear. Fake name had no record, and this is an option for minor offenses. As this now has turned into an assault, that goes out the window, and as this officer is alone, another car needs to be called down, because now they need to transport and book her. When the other car arrives, the first officer, who now has the chain she used on me as it's being seized for evidence, looks at the two new officers and says, "Now, I'm not a forensic analyst or anything, but I think we can all agree this was the weapon used," while holding the chain along my arm where there's a perfect welt that's formed. The two new officers agreed with that statement. Then as they went to swap my handcuffs with theirs, the one officer unlocking mine and putting theirs on sees mine are pink. Side note, I hate the color pink, but I thought the idea of putting pink handcuffs on people was hilarious. Yes, they're still legitimate, it's just a paint coating on the non-moving parts. Looks from my cuffs to me and goes, "Really, pink handcuffs? Are they fuzzy on the inside too?" Which of course got everyone laughing, me included, which I needed as I had started hyperventilating again for my freakout over this incident. A year and a half later, I find a news article on this shoplifter. Turns out she was sentenced to prison for stabbing her husband to death prior to my encounter. She was out on bail during my incident. I knew it was her because I half recognized the name in the article. I was given a notice on court proceedings in case I needed to testify, and the name was different from what she had given us. And the third last paragraph mentioned she had been released on bail, then remanded into custody after assaulting a loss prevention officer. I may have instantly forwarded that article to my supervisor, now manager, who was there that day. I am so glad she didn't find the knife that was later found on the counter across the room from where we were. To this day, I'm still used as an example in classes as to why you never remove handcuffs if you have to put them on in the first place. And my company quickly adopted a policy of handcuff everyone for your own safety after that. Alright everyone, that's it for today's stories. Thank you for watching, I appreciate it. Be sure to drop a like and subscribe for more Reddit content. So take care, I'll see you next time.